Why are we surprised? Why are we surprised that Iran has attacked Israel? Why are we surprised? Why are we surprised? First and foremost, let's establish something. Let's establish that there is no such thing as a legitimate government being a terrorist. No such thing. It's a legitimate government. But if it is a terrorist, let's establish who all the terrorists are. Let's establish that most of the police forces in North America are terrorist organizations. Let's establish that family court is a terrorist organization, especially against men, especially against black men. Let's establish that children protective services, terrorist organizations. Let's establish that most radical feminist groups are terrorist organizations. Let's establish that most of the LGBTQ groups and organizations, terrorist organizations. Let's establish that. This is one specific to Toronto and Ontario and Canada. The Family Responsibility Office, terrorist organization, the only organization that has more power than the criminal code. They can take away your license, they can put you in jail, they can take away your passport, they can seize your home, they can do anything they want to you. That's a terrorist. It's a terrorist organization. So, in the West, we have terrorist organizations posing themselves as government organizations. They're all terrorists. Okay, so let's go back to Iran. After we dealt with the domestic terrorists that we have in the West, we didn't even talk about the federal governments, the other, the provincial ones, or the state governments. Yeah, we haven't talked about those people, but let's establish that there's domestic terrorism working against its own citizens, even in the West. Now, let's get to Iran. Of course, who would expect there not to be a response to Israel, to America, to the allies that are supporting a war that is now descended upon the entire Arab world? Who would expect not to have actual military factions who have the wherewithal and the capacity to fight back to do so? Now, Iran's drone strike, my goodness, that was the slowest and most drawn out drone strike in the history of the doggone world. I mean, you could see those doggone drones coming. You could see those doggone drones coming from literally thousands of miles away. The slowest ballistic missile launch in the history of the doggone world. They saw those things coming from a mile and a half away, right? Thousands of miles actually away. So, what is the uproar? What do you expect to happen? How is it that there are people who really expect that they have the only capacity to cause harm and nobody's going to fight back, push back, or punch back? I don't understand what kind of world we're living in. When we believe that there is only violence that comes from one side. You see, this is the flaw of privilege. The flaw of privilege is that privilege always believes it's right. But really what takes place most of the time is privilege is always weaker than what they're trying to oppress. Yeah, the person I'm carrying on my back, you're weaker than me because you can't carry me. I've been carrying you for thousands of years. So we have this mentality that nobody's allowed to strike back. Well, I'm here to let you know that there's about to be a changing of the guard and a changing of regimes, that people aren't going to just sit back and allow you to strike and not hit back. That's right. You've created this. You've created your own enemy. Exactly. You've created your own enemy, and now you're going to have to fight that enemy forever, because the world is getting tired of the bullies who've been standing on our backs. That's correct. And whether or not you're in Israel, whether or not you're in America or Canada or England or any of these other nations, you've got to deal with the domestic terrorists within. And you've got to be able to know that you can stand up, walk straight like a man, and declare that no one's going to stand on my neck. Iran did what any nation is supposed to do. You shoot at us, you come for us, we come for you. If you don't understand that message, you're a privileged little bunny rabbit living in your little bunny rabbit nest, and we're about to come and eat you like wolves. I hope everybody hears this message. I hope everybody understands that. You come for us, we come for you. That's the law of the jungle. That's life. I don't care what uniform or what flag you're wearing. I don't care what language you speak. I don't care what you bow to and what you call God. That's the law of the jungle. You come for me, I'll come for you. Doesn't matter what I've got in my hand. You might have a chariot and I might have a smooth stone. You might have a knife and I might have a rock, but it doesn't matter. If you come for me, I'm going to come for you. And when the world understands that's how it works, then we're going to have two ultimate scenarios. You just leave everybody alone, or you understand that when you lift up your hand to deal with somebody, you're putting yourself in harm's way. That's how it is. That's the real spiel.